afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Classroom 2 for the next class in the series. This one is on making cards, and what we're going to do today is to create a set of 3 of these little cards. And there's lots of fussy cutting involved. So for those of us who love fussy cutting, myself included, there's a lot of fussy cutting for combining these gift stacks using the celebration set of clear stamps, which is this one here. We're using this gift stack here, and we are going to be using the die cuts a bit later on. Now, I in the process of doing up some samples for this, I got a bit carried away, and I actually ended up doing a few more as well, because it's just such a fun card to make if you're into fussy cutting. So if you're not, I mean, you could use obviously the stamp and color it in as well. This is just another way to add color to your cards without having to grab out your markers or paints or things like that. So as you can see, this set in particular is one of my favorites because it covers such a wide range of occasions. These ones are Christmas themed because I've used Christmas colors and Christmas papers. These ones could be for birthdays or even for new babies. They're nice subtle colors. Anywhere where you'd exchange gifts, this set of stamps is appropriate for. So it covers a wide range, and in that way it's good value for money. Okay, so let's get started. Now, what you need to start with is some A4 cardstock. You actually need 2 sheets of A4 cardstock, and you cut this on the long side. So we're having 4, you cut all 4 cards on the long side, and you'll end up with 4 card blanks. So these are A5 card blanks, all just folded in the middle like that. Okay, so 3 of these will become our cards, and the 4th we'll use actually for stamping. All right, so that's your 2 A4 card sheets cut in half and folded, ready to go. Now, you also need 3 sheets of pattern paper. So it's best to get sheets that coordinate together, colors that match or themes that match. I'm using just 3 different colors with some stripes and some spots, but they're all similar tones. If you wanted to use bright colors, that's fine, or Christmas colors, or whatever sort of theme you're looking for, that's fine. So what we need to do first of all with these sheets of pattern paper is to cut 3 3/4 from each piece of pattern paper. So on your trimmer or with a craft knife and ruler, 3 3/4 from each piece. Just trim that away. Now, I won't do it to each of them. I've actually got things pre-cut and ready to go so that you don't have to sit through all of it. Now, this piece here, we're going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to use the offcut to actually stamp our image. So I have one already ready to go. I'm just going to apply some black ink. I'm using Versamark here, or Versafine, I beg your pardon. So just stamp the gift stack at one end of your pattern paper. And then choose a sentiment from the stamp set. I've chosen the happy birthday to you, and we're going to just stamp that on the other end. So just ink that up also with the black ink and stamp that at the other end of the pattern paper. And do that for all 3 pieces. So you would have cut apart all 3 pieces like that and stamped them up. Now, as I said, I have already pre-done those, so I've got them ready. Oops, I need that still. I've got them all ready to go so that we don't have to waste a lot of time doing that. So this is what you'll end up with, your 3 pieces of pattern paper all stamped up and ready to go with the gift stack on one end and the sentiment at the other end. You will also want to take one of the card blanks. So you remember you just made these 4 card blanks. 3 you'll use as the cards, and the 4th is the one that you'll stamp with the gift stack again. So we'll stamp 3 gift stacks, and this is what will form the base for us to cut out. So ink up your stamp and then stamp this 3 times. This is just a guide for reconstructing the gifts, so it doesn't matter too much if your stamping's a bit wonky. So I just stamp that 3 times. I'll just use the second generation stamping for the last one. As I said, it's really only just for a guide. It just gives you an idea of where to place them. But again, I have pre-prepared those as well. All right, so just move those out to the side. Okay, now the next step is to take a pair of small sharp scissors and to fussy cut the gift stacks. So set these ones aside, and we're going back to our pattern paper ones, and we're going to fussy cut the gift stacks. Now usually when I fussy cut, I leave a little bit of room around the stamped image, but I'm not going to today because I want them to be paper pieced and I don't want that little border. I found it easiest when I was making these cards to actually fussy cut each gift individually. So this bottom part, I'm just going to trim that gift all the way off. Now if you find that you've cut off a little bit of the stamped border, the stamped edge, don't worry too much, because when we glue it all back onto that pre-stamped images that we've done here, they'll show up again. So don't worry too much if you find that you're cutting those off, but just go through and cut out each of those little gift stacks. And then, although this is a bit time consuming, what will happen is that you'll have all the materials ready to make all 3 cards at once. Okay, now I've pre-cut all of my little pieces, somewhere in a little bag, so that you don't have to sit there and watch me do that. But I will show you, each of the gift stacks are made up of several parts. So this one here, this is the bottom of the gift stack. It's got the lid and the base, so cut those apart as well. And then for this bit larger gift, just cut out the ribbon, keeping all those extra pieces because you want to build them up again. So you cut out each of those pieces until you end up with basically a whole bunch of little pieces. Now again, I'm not going to make you sit and watch me cut all those little pieces out, but here they are. This is what they look like when you've cut them all apart. So you have the large gift stack on the bottom, and then you have the little pieces for the next part of the card. All right, so you get the general idea of where I'm going with this. Everything that's cut apart, and that's what gives us the color when we come in at the next part. So we have these, we have this one with the stripes. This little one at the top here. If you set these pieces up basically as the stamp is, it makes it a little bit easier when it comes time to constructing the card. All right, so you'd have the 3 colors already cut out and prepared on your table. Now I realize I'm doing this mostly off camera, so I'll just move the camera a little bit so you can see that I've got all my pieces all set out and ready to go. So these will be ready for construction. All right, now I have 2 or 3 really, 3 already done with the 2 colors remaining in those pattern papers. So I've left the green ones off so I can show you. It's just a matter of gluing those green pieces in place. I found it a lot easier to actually apply the glue onto the base sheet and then use some tweezers to put things in place. That was much easier than adding glue to the little pieces themselves and moving those up. So as you're working along, you just mix and match. Try not to lay the same color next to each other. So if you move them around, and you'll pick that up as you go. So saddle our pieces. The tweezers make it a little bit easier to place the really small pieces. If you don't want to cut them apart this much, that's fine. You might just like to cut each gift apart and use it as a whole in that way. So I might just leave that whole gift up here blue or pink instead of cutting it apart as much as I have. But if you do love to fussy cut, which I really do, then you don't mind cutting that all up. All right. So it gives you a stack of presents that are all pretty colours, and just continue on. You can do a few at a time. The glue doesn't dry all that quickly, so I'll add a few bits and pieces just to speed it up a little. Put all those sections in place. This is a relatively simple card to make. There's no lots of folds or anything like that, and there's no complicated colouring because we're using just the pattern paper to give us colour on our card. Oops. When it comes to little details like this bit of string bow here, I just cut straight through that, and then when you glue it all back together, it doesn't matter too much. Oops, let me get this piece. You just glue that stamped section back in and you can't tell the difference. All right, oh, I think I've got those two mixed up. That's better. It's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. All right, and the last one, just do the same, more of the same. And then we have 3 gift stacks ready to go for our cards. It's much quicker when you're working with multiple cards at once. Bit of a factory line going on, assembly line. All right, so everything's in place. Now what we're going to do is take the matching die from the set, and that will fit nicely over the top, and it actually, the edge of the paper will catch the die, so it doesn't tend to slide around, so you don't even need any really washi tape or anything to hold it in place. I will cut them apart though, just to make it a little bit easier going through the die cutting machine. And then we'll run each one through. So I'll just do that here off camera. And you end up with a nice little gift stack. Okay. So you do that for the remaining 2 gift stacks as well. You cut those apart, and then all we need to do is, with those card blanks that we had earlier, so trim down your papers a little bit so that they fit the front of your card blank. And just all you have to do is mix and match. So choose whether you'd like a blue one or a green one, to whichever one you want to match with whichever gift or gift stack. It doesn't really matter. So you can see that these are a little bit long for my card, so I need to cut just a little bit off the edges, off either end. So about 1/4 of an inch. Grab. Just trim a little bit off, and that should fit nicely. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to adhere that in place. This enormous tape runner that I use, mostly because I hate running out of tape. Okay. Let's put that in place with a nice little bit of a border around it. All right. Now we've got, I've already cut out all my sentiments as well. Now what I'm going to do before I construct it all, I'm actually going to take a grey marker. This is just a warm 3, so it's just a neutral colour, but it's grey. And what I'm going to do is actually add a little bit of marker in some of the places where the stamped image has multiple areas in the same colour. So this first gift stack, for example, this little tag here, if I just apply some, I might need a little bit darker. If I just apply a little bit of marker to the tag and in different areas of the bow, it doesn't change the colour, but it just helps to define it a little more. Same here with the gift stack. I'm going to apply some marker on every second stripe. That just adds a little bit more interest without changing any of the colours inside the bow, and then maybe the back piece of ribbon over here. You can do the striped top on this little gift, and we can do the string, the tag. You don't have to do this part, it's just to add some difference, as I said. And again, more stripes down the bottom here. All right. And do that to all 3 gifts that you've put together. All right, so we've got our cardstock on. We've got our sentiment stamped, and you can punch out whatever shape that you want. So I've just used a simple circle for this card. For the other sample cards, I had done other shapes. So I cut flags out for these previous ones, and I used a half a circle for those ones. So you can do whatever sort of shape that you want. All right. Now I'm going to also add just a bit of a border with a black pen, just to give a border, really, to provide some structure for the whole card. Now, an easy way to do this, you can get a ruler and draw a border around, but I'm just going to take my pen and I'm going to do a line relatively straight along each border, and then I'm going to add a double line crisscrossing that first one. So wave it around. That's just a bit of fun. Now, if you wanted to, if you particularly like to doodle, you can go in and you can add some little lines inside that border if you want to, but I think I'll just leave it like that. And then what we're going to do is use a little bit of foam tape on our gift stack. And popping it up from the back will just add a little bit more dimension. can see this is relatively quick and easy. Once you get all that fussy cutting done, it's pretty quick and easy to finish the card. I tend to go a bit overboard with my tape, my foam tape. So that'll do. I'll stop there. All right, take that off. All right. You can add, I might put that down the bottom there. You can add ribbons. Oh, I might move it at the top. You can add little pearls, sequins, anything to jazz it up as much as you want. You might even add a couple of layers of cardstock to the base to give it a bit of a matte finish. Or you might like to change up the colours so that they're a bit brighter, change the colour of the border, whatever you really want to do, it's up to you. So it's just meant to be a nice quick and easy card that's a little bit of fun. And especially for those of us who really enjoy fussy cutting. Okay, so there we have it, all done. You'd have those two other ones that you've put together. I will work on those when I get off camera, and we'll be able to finish another couple of cards with what I've done, so that I'll end up with another series. Now, if you're into making birthday cards or Christmas cards, it's a really nice card design to do because you can get 3 off at once, and that really cuts down on how many you need to make, so that's nice and handy. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. It's good to see. Oh, hi Sally, and hi, is that Muttley? I think it says Muttley Gray. I finally found how to get in. It's good to see you. You can rewatch these videos later on. They will be recorded and they'll be in the classroom all the time. So you can come back for the entire month that you're subscribed for and watch them again at some other point. So it's all good. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a messenger post or send me an email, becky@beckysplace.com. Pop over to my blog. I have lots more free tutorials, lots of card fold tutorials, colouring tutorials and things like that. And also, just so that you know, in the next about half an hour, this Celebrate set, the stamps and the dies will be available on special in the store, so they'll be coming as a bundle deal. It's a beat the clock sale, so you've only got half an hour to snag that deal, and that will come on at around 2 o'clock. So just so that you have a bit of a heads up. Tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock we will be doing another card. I hope you'll join me for that one. In the morning at 10 we have another colouring lesson, and that will be using white pencil on a dark background. So that's called negative colouring, and we'll be doing that at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So I hope you join me then. Thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye.